This one makes me sick. New insurance policies taken out on Lahaina before the fires. Who owns Lahaina besides the Hawaiians? We went over that.
There are powers that be. I'm not sure of the reasoning. All I know is the order has come down to shut down the distribution of these placards.
Passed a law saying that land could not be redistricted for new building permits unless some sort or some type of a serious natural disaster occurred. Serious natural disaster occurred. And what did we have happen through those 3 districts of very sacred land to the Hawaiians?
Okay. I found a lot more out that even happened weeks ago, like right after the fire. And I missed probably some of the... If you guys think that you've seen it all, you haven't. You haven't seen anything yet, okay? And I'm sorry to say that. I'm not happy about that. It is horrible. It's repulsive, and it involves Mark Zuckerberg and others. And in hindsight, you're going to see it's going to be like looking through clear glass. Like literally, it's jaw-dropping. It's going to floor you. So for one, let's recap. I think I've told you a lot of this, but I'll go through it anyway. There was a 12-mile media ban radius, a 12-mile radius media ban in Maui. And that's against freedom of the press. That means no journalists allowed, not even big-time mainstream media. Why? So that's that's against the First Amendment. Here's what Matt Wallace had to say. Why is the media ban still in place? What are they hiding still? Daniel Alec Zek asked, to my people on Maui, is all of this true? Fire hydrants were dry. Fire marshals were out of town that night. The mayor and the governor were out of town. We kind of know, this is in hindsight. Go watch my other videos in the last week and you'll find out that information. People who were trying to evacuate were told it was not time to evacuate and to turn around back into the fire. No cops on bullhorns, no firefighters in the streets. Most robust emergency siren system in the world did not sound. No warnings whatsoever. Anomalies were reported and directions that don't scientifically add up. Tourists evacuated by bus. Locals locked in and told they can't get back in if they leave. Now remember, some of this we've already covered, but people are going to be implicated here and it gets horrendous. School was canceled, right? Children were home while parents worked. Hundreds of children burned alive. We know there were more than that. Can't be identified. A perfect circle of fire around Lahaina. Molten metal. Listen to this. Molten metal next to intact trees. Okay. That's odd. Media reporting fractions of real numbers. This one is very odd. This one makes me sick. New insurance policies taken out on Lahaina before the fires. Who owns Lahaina besides the Hawaiians? We went over that. Go back and watch the last several videos on the fires in Maui. The oceanfront property, the government. Wild how all of this new uninhabitable land that only big developers can afford to clean up opened up for the plans of turning Maui into a smart island. They were planning all of this. Remember the lady that talked about it at the city meeting? With billionaire funding. How many do you need? It goes on and on, folks. It goes on and on. Kelio Manuel. Okay, so Hawaii is surrounded by water. Maui is surrounded by water. Kelio Manuel refused to release water in Maui as the fire grew. Part of the Obama Foundation, Kaleo is the deputy director of the State of Hawaii Commission on Water Resource Management. So he has a weird philosophy about water. He believes that water should be revered but not used. Even when people are dying and there's a fire and there's an emergency.
Commission is responsible per our authorizing statute to protect and manage all water resources in the state. One Water is like taking it and looking at it from a holistic system perspective. And that's not any different than how Hawaiians traditionally managed water. You know, in essence, we treated Native Hawaiians treated water as one of the earthly manifestations of a god and a kua kane. And so that reverence for a resource and that reciprocity in relationship was something that was really, really important to our worldview and well-being, right? And living in an island, isolated from other, civilizations. And so I think where it shifted to today or over time is that we've become used to looking at water as like something which we use and not necessarily something that we revere as that thing that gives us life, right? I mean, to me, it's a shift in value set. And, if we can start to really look at how we as humans in an island can reconnect to that traditional value set. So really my motto is always like, let water connect us and not divide us. Like we can share it, but it requires true conversation.
Okay, I don't know about you, but this is the biggest piece of evidence to me that there is. The biggest, I'm sorry, I am livid. I'm livid right now. This is the biggest piece of evidence there is. The biggest piece of evidence. You have law enforcement questioning orders that they are getting themselves. They literally say, and I bet you this cop, he knows what's going on. He's probably a very good man. He's probably he's got the skinny in his brain. He's privy to knowing what's going on a little bit. I think he even says the powers that be. This is huge. Listen to this.
Crazy.
All right. I've just been informed that we are shutting down this placard distribution as of now. Please. There are powers that be. I'm not sure of the reasoning. All I know is the order has come down to shut down the distribution of these placards. That's all I have for you.
Doesn't this make you want to cry? I mean, did you see that? Turning people down because they didn't have a permit or a license to cater the food, to prepare the food. What in the world? What in the heck? We've never been like that. Were we like that with any other disaster? Would a police officer stop you on the side of the road because you're helping somebody in a car accident? Would a police officer, and it's not their fault. It's not these police officers' fault. They're getting direct orders from the from feds, from the FBI, maybe even the CIA. I've seen civilians help cops out in a gunfight to help save their lives. The cop doesn't stop them and go, "No, I'm sorry, you're not a peace officer. You can't help me." Or somebody's in a car accident, like I said, on the side of the road. You're not allowed to give them water because that water's not from an official first responder or something. That is baloney. That's a bunch of crap.
There is extreme corruption going on with the government here. They took 150 meals to be delivered for the people in need that are starving and don't have food or water. They were denied because they don't have a commercial kitchen license. And the boats that are trying to leave and give supplies to Lahaina and the people in need are having to bust through barricades to deliver supplies. So it seems like at every single turn, the government is doing everything that they can to make sure that the people here that need help do not get help. FEMA came and picked up a bunch of supplies and nobody knows where they went. I know in past FEMA situations, they found shipping containers full of supplies never given to those in need. So super sketchy.
And remember, this isn't just one or two people. This goes on and on. There are survivors. You've seen the cell phone stories. You've seen the TikTok videos. You've seen what people are saying. Just regular, like people that are vacationing, not just the residents, homeless people. It just keeps going on.
It was a firestorm.
I know what.
There was tornadoes of ash the size of charcoal from a barbecue, like being thrown by baseball players. I'm ducking behind walls. I had to kick in the door at Bubba Gump's to get out of it because I was getting pounded.
Yeah.
And then Bubba Gump started on fire, and I'm running down Front Street, and the wall, there's like 80 people, and the ocean was on fire. Firefighter told me because the first layer of ash causes a seal. And then the next layer of ash was all the embers. So the tide line was on fire and I had to jump through the water
I don't know what I'm
and come up through the fire. And 80 people, they were on the wall. Everybody started jumping in. Coast Guard was out there grabbing people. And I was like, no, I'm good. I was born in the water. I'm a Kai. And they're grabbing people, and I swam. I knew my phone was only good for like 15 seconds being submerged, then swam for like a half-mile north. It was like nothing you've ever seen. This was bad that the people in their cars that were dead and from asphyxiation and the fire blew out the car, and you just saw the numbers of the dead are so wrong.
FEMA also authorized one-time payments of $700 per household to folks who have been displaced so they can do the immediate things of just taking care of medications and prescriptions that they so badly need.
Also recap, $700 per family, right? We're sending billions of dollars to other countries. Let's just say that. Other countries. I got to be careful what I say here. Like really careful. We're getting messages, and I showed you guys on the community page what YouTube is telling us not to say. So let's just say other countries. What else? And then here's Governor Green.
I'm already thinking about ways for the state to acquire that land so that we can put it into workforce housing, to put it back into families.
So the governor's already actively planning with the state to grab the land. Hawaii Democrat governor says state plans to acquire land ravaged by wildfires. Okay. And then this right here, on January 3rd of 2023, Maui announced plans to become one of America's first smart cities, or a 15-minute city. A smart city, a 15-minute city. You've seen the sister talking about that. But first, you got to have
shadow people,
unelected globalist officials control the land. Yeah. I think this video is going to show you probably the most evidence. If you're not convinced yet after this video, then you've got some explaining to do to your partner, maybe that's next to you, that believes it, that sees something else.
Not that long ago, Hawaiian government officials in the areas that were just affected by the wildfires passed a law saying that that land could not be redistricted for new building permits unless some sort or some type of a serious natural disaster occurred. Serious natural disaster occurred. And what did we have happen through those three districts of very sacred land to the Hawaiians. A very serious natural disaster. I'm not going to get into space lasers and all of that, but people called their insurance companies after the fire, and the insurance companies, for the first time, informed them that there was zoning infractions on their land, so they would not honor their insurance policies. And within 24 hours of these people losing their homes, the same developers who the Hawaiian elders fought in court to have that law passed are already calling these people and making them offers for their homes. This is what happens when the government sticks their fingers in everything. The government's in the insurance industry, and they're talking to people who are paying for their campaigns, which are the buyers of this land. And they say to these people, hey, let us know when they call you to get their insurance claims, and let us know when you deny them, so we can then give them a call right away and scoop in and swoop in and be the heroes. So they're going to get this land that they're going to develop into millions of dollars worth of property, and the Hawaiian elders are going to get f*** all. They're going to get screwed over. And this happens everywhere. There's too many coincidences for this not to be shady. Wake up.
Tell you guys, I am so frustrated with investors and realtors calling the families who lost their home, offering to buy their land. How dare you do that to our community right now? If you are a victim, Kalamai, sorry, had a little bit poor reception right there. If you are a victim and they are calling you, please get their name. People keep calling me, sorry. Get their business name so we can put them on blast. I am so frustrated hearing since yesterday that multiple families that I know personally were reached out and offered money from investors and realtors. Shame on you. Shame on you. If you are a Maui realtor contributing to that, karma's gonna come and get you. Okay? That is pilau. And if you are a realtor and they are calling you, investors are calling you to represent them, I hope you have dignity and aloha and compassion to turn them away and tell them off.
Okay, and the grand finale of the story. Well, actually, there's many grand finales in this story, isn't there? Zuck. Do you know who Zuck is? Zuckerberg. He is not well loved by the islanders. He is not well loved by the people of Hawaii or the people of Maui. He has sued them in the past. There's a video I have done on that recently. There's a video I did on that recently. So yeah, and then he backed off of his lawsuit because he was looking bad in the media. But can you imagine, because there's a way that these people inherit land and they don't always have the paperwork. So you have people like Mark Zuckerberg who come in with their attorneys and they swoop on it and they steal it, basically. They grab it from these people, or they give them maybe $500 for land that you didn't even know you owned. How does it feel to get $500 for land that you didn't even know you owned? That is disgusting. He has stolen over 1,000 acres of land from the locals. Oh, and we haven't even talked about Bill Gates yet. There's history of Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg and Oprah and all, they're all just friends. They're family. They are family, basically. But there's history of Bill Gates doing the same thing, the same exact thing. And listen closely. Hold on to your bootstraps, pilgrims, pioneers. There's evidence of Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates trying to buy all the islands. All of them. All of Hawaii.
Yeah.
And in Kauai, Mark Zuckerberg owns more of Kauai than the government of Kauai itself or any other private landowners in Kauai. Mark Zuckerberg owns the majority of Kauai. In 2017, hundreds of local Hawaiians who owned interest on small pieces of land within his estate were subject to lawsuits by Zuckerberg's lawyers. You know that. This is the face of neo-colonialism. Kapua Sproat, a law professor at the University of Hawaii, told The Guardian in 2017, even though a forced sale may not physically displace people, it's the last nail in the coffin of separating us from the land. Close quote. So we know what a monopoly is, right? It's basically what Mark Zuckerberg has done in Hawaii. He's monopolized. He's taken over like a dictator. He owns part of the United States. That's what's going on. We've allowed these are modern day robber barons. This is modern day neo-colonialism. That's exactly what's going on. And nobody's doing anything about it. So this is Cernovich. Hawaii went 2-1 for Joe Biden. All their native land is being stolen from them by Democrats. My heart weeps for Maui, but this is what they voted for. Their land will be taken from them now. Mark Zuckerberg is salivating. They didn't know. It's because we trust people. The citizens of America and of the world think that their leaders should be trusted. He also said to Barack Obama, your BlackRock friends are going to carve up that native land to hand out to Mark Zuckerberg and other colonists and oligarchs like yourself. You probably already have your new place mapped out. So what really bothers me the most is I can understand. I mean, I'll give them this evil. If this is, I can understand doing this for that. You guys are running, like you have bigger plans for the world. That's what I'm saying. You have bigger plans for the New World Order, sustainable development. Maybe the Hawaiian Islands are going to fit. It's a piece of a puzzle that's going to fit into some future part of a bigger narrative. Okay. So, I can understand doing that kind of evil, but it even makes it worse that this might be done just for a few bazillionaires to have some beachfront property. That boggles my mind right there. So who owns the most land in Hawaii and stands to benefit the most? Larry Ellison, Mark Zuckerberg, Oprah Winfrey, Jeff Bezos. But then you have Elon Musk, who's helping the Hawaiians. So there are good bazillionaires or billionaires. How do you be a very, very rich person and not be part of this group? I think that's a mystery to us little folks, right? When I say little folks, I'm talking about people that we're not up in that income bracket or that echelon. We're not one of the elitists or neo-colonialists, right? How is Elon Musk doing this? Well, maybe the same way Trump is. There can be good people that have made this money on their own, but they still have to deal with the banks. I mean, BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard. Don't they own all of the banks? I mean, I don't know. I'm asking you guys. I bet this is something maybe Quick Media could answer. How does Elon Musk get away? How does he continue to stay away from all the dark side of the force?
How does he stay away from the dark side of the force?
How does he stay away from the dark side of the force?
And be that wealthy. So he said Tesla and SpaceX, Starlink, doing our best to be helpful to Hawaii. Do these people think they are going to live forever? Here's some advice to the neo-colonists and elites if they are watching little old me. Look at your friend Mitch McConnell. Look at your friend Mitch McConnell right now. He's on his way to meet his maker soon, and it happened like that. You remember this, right? You remember. This is the lasers several months ago in the sky over Hawaii.
Unusual sight captured on camera. Japanese and local astronomers say a Chinese satellite was recently seen beaming down green lasers over the islands.
The lasers flash for just a couple seconds. Initially thought to be from a NASA altimeter satellite, the Japanese put out a correction note on Monday saying NASA scientists found a most likely candidate as the ACDL instrument by the Chinese Daki-1 AEMS satellite. I went to a University of Hawaii astronomer who read up on AEMS instruments.
It's a Chinese satellite that is measuring pollutants, among other things. It has many different instruments on it.
So I've had a few emails and comments asking me questions like, why are you talking about these negative things, Troy? Or I've noticed your channel has changed. Or these things happen, but we shouldn't be focusing on them. We should be talking about gathering Israel, the covenant path, personal revelation, positive things, etc. Or the prophet says to be peacemakers, and this video doesn't look like it's peacekeeping, Troy. I say, first of all, yes, you are right. Those things are very important, and they are true. And guess what? I've talked about them all for years. And those of you who are my subscribers, who have been my subscribers for years, know that I've done this on social media for years. I've had my YouTube channel since January of 2019, almost 5 years. And most of you don't know because I deleted it. I was an Instagram comedian. That's right. Before I did YouTube, because I don't talk about it.
Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Daddy's gonna buy you a mockingbird. And if that mockingbird don't sing, Daddy's gonna buy you a diamond ring. And if that diamond ring don't shine, Daddy's gonna buy you a bottle of wine. And when Daddy buys you a bottle of wine, the neighbor's gonna call the cops on me, beat me down in the yard. I told you not to go to the neighbors with that wine. Dang it! Now my life is screwed. I should have got you milk. I should have got you something else. Oh, what am I gonna do? Little baby, why? Why?
So here's what I have to say about those comments. Tell that to the parents that have had children stolen or kidnapped from them. Maybe parents that even know who the people are that kidnap their children, but maybe the rest of your family has been threatened. And I'm not saying that's happened, but tell them to be peacekeeping people. And I'm talking about members of the church that might be having nefarious things happen to them. Now, that's not necessarily happening in Lahaina, but it really happens in human trafficking. Or how about you lost your child to a fire on an island you grew up on? An island that a bunch of wealthy, famous, maybe even some not so well-known elites. Some of these elites want to devour your island like a greedy dragon. Tell those parents or residents to focus on happiness and positive things only. Peacekeeping, loving their enemies, etc. I guarantee you that if anything ever happened violently to your family, focusing on the work and avoiding confronting evil would be not the narrative in your personal life. It would be the farthest thing from your mind. So tell them to gather Israel and shut up, or go to the temple. Brothers and sisters, I've been exhorting people to do these things for years. And I still say think on those things. But remember, our own prophet says in his peacekeeping talk that he is not naive and knows that peace does not come at any price. We tend to leave that part out of where he says that, right? Remember when he says, I am not saying peace at any cost.
Charity allows us to demonstrate how men and women of Christ speak and act, especially when under fire. Now, I'm not talking about peace at any price. I'm talking about treating others in ways that are consistent with keeping the covenant you make when you partake of the sacrament.
I am not peacekeeping, brothers and sisters. I'm observing life that happens around me and warning my brethren and sisters that there are intruders, liars, children missing, covert combos at work possibly, etc. Now, should they still be seeking peace? Of course, peace from the Savior through prayers and scripture study. Yeah, definitely. Should they be bitter? Well, tell that to someone who it just happened to yesterday. Tell them not to be bitter. Tell them that they need to focus on positive things only. So the point is that the parts of the gospel or the parts of life that become our core will motivate us at the moment. And that time is now. We are living in a time to warn our neighbors. So yes, you have noticed my channel change slightly within the last couple of weeks. Its message is the same, folks. But now I've recruited other people besides just members of the church that are hearing the messages at the end of the video or even in the middle of the video, where I talk about the gospel, where I talk about covert combos, where I talk about Gadianton robbers being in the Book of Mormon. And they ask me, what is that? Before, it was kind of like preaching to a temperamental choir. Not all of you, don't get me wrong, but some of you were complacent and content with the things that I was saying and wanted the same message every day. And I was thinking about this last night when I got up and typed this whole thing that I'm reading you. If you awoke to a strange man in your living room and you had several children of all ages asleep upstairs and your beloved spouse asleep in bed, would you talk to this intruder about gathering Israel or peacekeeping or family history? Sure. You might want to use those tactics first, right? To keep the peace and love that brother to death, right? Or be nice to them because maybe they'll be nice back. Or do you have time, realistically? I bet your families would be your first priority, though. Not really loving this guy back to being good. I know your families, once again I'll say this, would be your first priority. I guarantee you that if anything ever happened violently to your family members, peacekeeping would be the farthest thing from your mind. I guarantee you, if you were going through what people in Lahaina were going through, or other people all over the world are going through, and like the most horrible of circumstances, I promise you that being a peacekeeper would be the farthest thing from your mind. Now, brothers and sisters, the prophet President Nelson is right. But our prophet doesn't command us in all things either, and he will tell you that himself. Our own God said in the Doctrine and Covenants, section 58, verse 26, "For behold, it is not meet that I should command in all things. For he that is compelled in all things, the same as a slothful and not a wise servant. Wherefore he received no reward." Brothers and sisters, I am not peacekeeping, but I'm also warning. I'm a watchman warning my brothers and sisters that we're the only ones that can do something about it. So I know that those 15 men, when they tell us that these are the things that we need to focus on, also know, like President Nelson said, they're not naive. They also know that other things are going on that need to be addressed.